Momo The Missouri Monster is another documentary from Small Town Monsters. Sort of. They went for something a little different here. Instead of doing the traditional Bigfoot documentary format, where you go talk to experts, listen to some of their stories, and then maybe camp out for a few nights, they instead made up an entire schlocky movie in the same vein as The Legend of Boggy Creek, and made that the focus of the film. Now, I love crappy Bigfoot movies, and I commend them for trying something different. So let's check out Momo The Missouri Monster and see what it's all about. One cool thing is that they were able to bring in a lot of big names in the Bigfoot world for this one. Bobo and Cliff Barrickman are both here from Finding Bigfoot, and pretty much the whole movie is narrated and hosted by Lyle Blackburn. In fact, that's sort of the gimmick of the film. He acts like he's the host of a TV show called Blackburn's Cryptid Case Files, and tonight's subject is the fictional movie Momo The Missouri Monster. I have to admit, they actually kind of got me at first to thinking that this was an actual film from the 70s. But once you see the credits for this made-up movie, you see Small Town Monster's name all over it, and you know it's just for fun. The opening act of the movie has two girls driving around, and they stop for a picnic, only to be terrorized by Momo, which is really just a Bigfoot. Here, he looks pretty stupid, like a guy in a ghillie suit, but I think that's intentional, to add to the charm of the movie. Anyway, the girls make it to their car, but they don't have the keys. They lay on the horn to try to scare it away, and that actually works, and they're able to go get their keys and make their getaway. Now, the movie jumps to present-day Louisiana, Missouri, the small river town where Momo was said to terrorize. This is where things are set up a bit more like your standard documentary, with Blackburn going around talking to the locals, hearing their stories, and learning about the town. My favorite of these locals are Willard Walmsley and John Wood. They're just two old guys that were alive during the time of the sightings, but they're kind of charming in a way. They're kind of like the two old dudes who hang out at a barber shop. From the look of things, the town is hurting financially, like many other small towns in 2019. At one point, there were 12 taverns, a chewing tobacco plant, doctors, lawyers, the whole shebang. But now that's all dried up. The only thing they're known for now is Momo. Back to the movie, and we're introduced to the Harrison boys, who are out playing in their yard. This is the family that seems to have been affected by the creature the most. They live at the base of Star Hill, just outside Louisiana, Missouri. While the boys are goofing around, the creature pays them a visit. At first, they just kind of stand there looking at it. It's not until their sister sees it do they come running inside. In a panic, they call their parents, who own a diner in town, and ask for their dad, Edgar, to come home immediately. He does, and he has a look around, but he assumes it's just the neighbors playing tricks. He yells out to the kids, but really, it's the monster. Blackburn tells us that the Harrisons weren't ones to make up tales, and that they were respected in the community. He talks to some locals that knew the family, and they basically tell us the same story that we just saw. They even go to the location where the house once stood. Everyone believes that if they say it happened to them, then it did. To make things even stranger, when the Harrisons had some company over, they all got a good look at some UFOs. Now, in the past, Small Town Monsters and other docs have tried to link UFOs and Bigfoot, and this just seems to back that up. Once word got out, the town had both Bigfoot and UFO hunters coming in to get a piece of the action, which is a good thing for the small town. They had Momo sales at the local shops and even sold Momo burgers. However, Edgar didn't seem to benefit financially from this at all, because everyone knew about his encounter When others started seeing it, they would call him and talk to him about what they saw. It's all the standard stuff, Bigfoot running across a field or stalking them in the woods. But Edgar is no Dr. Phil. He doesn't want to hear other people's stories, but instead just wants to ensure the safety of his own family. So he ships him off to the diner to stay for a couple of days. Really, he probably just made all this up for some peace and quiet from his family. I should try that sometime. But he actually does seem to be tackling this problem head on, tracking all the sightings and taking plaster casts. It's interesting to note here that the Boggy Creek Monster and Momo only have 3 toes. That 3-toe part is interesting to me. Besides these 2 movies, I've never seen it associated with Bigfoot anywhere else. And I think I know why. Because it's a hoax. At least the 3-toed footprint part. Here, Gail Sudderth, who was a little girl at the time of the Momo sightings, admits that she made a footprint and tricked her family into thinking it was real. Really, all she did was press her foot into the mud and then add 3 toes with her heel, but her parents spread the word and everyone came flocking to see it. They even had an anthropologist come in who verified its weight and height, and they confirmed it was an animal. At that point, she was too scared to admit she made it all up, so she just kept her secret for all these years. Edgar thinks that he's finally tracked down the woods where the beast roams, and he sets up a hunting party to kill the beast. Leading the team is Sheriff Ward, played by Barrickman, and Deputy Fay, played by James Fay, aka Bobo. The group splits up, with Edgar leading some and the chief leading the others. The chief's group gets bombarded by UFOs in the night sky, and then a loud voice yells, The other group stumbles upon a stick structure, and Edgar runs off to find its home. He sees the monster, he takes aim, and fires at Momo, which turns into a ball of light. Thinking that he got it, they all return home feeling that much safer. But are they? As the rest of his family return home, they too get a UFO light show, and then Momo attacks. Blackburn closes out the movie talking about the town today, how the Momo story has died down and at this point is pretty much forgotten. But the Harrisons know what they saw, and the locals believe them. Even so, the people who live in Louisiana, Missouri admit that they haven't even thought about Momo in 20 years, and they don't take it too seriously anymore. It seems like at this point, the story of Momo the Monster is dead, kept alive only by movies like this. And that was Momo the Missouri Monster. An interesting take on a story that honestly seems best forgotten. Personally, I think it was all a hoax, and Gail's story about how she made up a fake footprint just goes to show how easy something like this can get blown out of proportion. Maybe Edgar Harrison really did see something out in the woods, and he shot at it. But if that's the case, then he's the only one who can verify that, and unfortunately, he's long gone. I wish they would have been able to interview the Harrison kids, though. I really do wonder what happened to them. They should still be alive today. One small touch that I did like were the title cards that they used in between the movie and the documentary parts. They were kind of fun, and it did make you feel like you were watching a late-night cable access horror show, which is what I think they were going for. I didn't really care for the look of the monster, like I said. I understand they wanted to make it look purposely bad, but that's not a good reason to cheap out on a suit. And honestly, it doesn't feel like there's enough to this story to warrant a feature documentary. Even the townspeople have forgotten about it, and half of the ones that they interviewed admitted that even at the time, they really didn't care about Momo.
Is it true? And as time went on, I said, no, it's not true.
Yeah, I didn't live Momo. I didn't look for Momo.
But I was not in the hub of Momo. Maybe that's why I don't find it so terribly important.
Even so, if you really like the other stuff Small Town Monsters has put out, this one's worth a shot. They went for a little different route than most of their other movies, and I can respect that. But I think they should just stick to the standard documentary format for most of their films, and not this blend of both that they tried here. I give Momo the Missouri Monster 1.5 three-toed hoaxed footprints out of 4.
Ew, that's gross. What did you do? There's something on the hill.